Welcome to Oh When the Town with Luke Gregory.
Hello and welcome to Oh When the Town. This is a really emergency podcast, I'd like to say today.
And a strange one.
A very strange one. And it's even stranger because today on Zoom, we've managed to get Luke Bottaro working a Zoom account on an iPad.
Yeah,
and he's joining us today. Bottaro, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are we? All right?
Yeah, missed you, Bottaro. Where you been?
Oh, well, you know, mate. This and that. Not really anything.
Love it.
This is so strange. I ain't gonna lie. This is weird.
Well, tonight we are joined by Luke Bottaro. We're joined by Darren. We're joined by Steve. And we're joined by Dave. Well, Bottaro is so used to not used to having a Zoom call. So he's finally worked his way back home.
I'm not used to holding a bit of technology.
He's a bit of a dinosaur of his technology, isn't he?
No, I'm not quite that bad, but it's weird. I keep eyeing up the side of it.
Why can we not see you?
Let's get into today's news. The breaking news that Graeme Jones had his contract mutually terminated. And it kind of like came out absolutely nowhere. Bottaro, I want to start with you because a couple of people asked on Twitter, they said, can't wait to hear Bottaro's opinion on this. Jones is gone. Yeah,
well, look, what can you say? It's one of them things, really, but it's also, is it not financial? Is that not the reason behind it all?
Yeah, I was thinking that. Like, there would be no other reason for it at this stage, you'd like to think.
Yeah, but look, I don't know. What does this mean now next? I don't know for the club, but it's just a bit odd.
Are we the first of many clubs, do you reckon, that are going to do this?
It's a difficult one, really, isn't it? Because it's definitely a financial move from Luton. We're not playing. We've got no income coming in, and they've got those three managed, just him and his staff, to support with no extra money coming in. It's hard, isn't it?
And he's got a lot of staff.
Yeah, and what's going to happen? You know, how long is it before football restarts? That's the other question we have, isn't it?
There was four of them that lost their job, weren't there? It was him, Rabin, Idiakes, and the other chappie. Can't remember his name now. Who lost it?
Go chappie Steve, yeah? The other chappie, yeah?
Yeah, the other one. I can't remember his name, though. But you'd like to think, what about the rest of them? Like, why are they staying when the others aren't?
Well, you'd have thought that the club would have furloughed most people.
Yeah.
Money back.
Yeah.
The players have taken a wage deferral, you'd expect, at some point. And probably the managing director and everybody else are doing the same.
Did the players take wage deferrals, though? Because I thought Sweet said a few weeks back that the players weren't already on enough not to take a deferral. So I don't know if they actually were taking a deferral, the players.
Well, maybe that was another option. Maybe they should have taken a deferral. Why now? Why leave it this long into this epidemic, this pandemic, then to get rid of the manager?
It's all a bit weird, really.
We were on a bit of good form before this stopped.
It's not result based, sure. This him going is not result based, because if it was results based, he would have gone.
It would have been done after the last game we played. Yeah.
How much are we reading into the mutual consent? Like, who's happier here, the club or him?
Well, there's a good point. I mean, did he want to leave because he couldn't see any way out of this for a few months, and he just didn't want to be involved anymore?
Probably does want to be a League One manager.
I think it's a mixture of a lot of things, really. It comes down to, obviously, money, probably a factor. They go, do you know what? Let's come out in a statement and say it's due to money or whatever. But I think both parties knew what they wanted, and I think this is the thing. I think both wanted, so surely, because you wouldn't just get rid of your manager, would you?
It's not two parties there, though, Luke, is it, Bottaro? There's more than that. There's all his backroom staff as well. So maybe there's more to this than meets the eye. But I would suspect it's financial in the first instance.
Well, you think Graeme Jones has said all season about budget and how he goes on about Luton having the smallest budget in the Championship. Literally every post-match interview he said, we've got no budget. So he knows the financial problems at the club. And during, it's hard enough just during a season when it's okay. So imagine now where there's no income at all and there's talk of no income potentially till 2021. Like, it's
scary, isn't it, for the club, really?
Once we start playing again, do you see us getting him back as a boss? Once we start paying wages again? Or would you see that ship has sailed?
I said this to you earlier, Greg, didn't I? On the phone. I asked you that question. Go on, you answer it then, Greg. Go on. What do you think?
I don't think so. I think it's there for a fresh start.
Yeah.
Whenever football returns to normality, which could be this season, but it depends what you mean by normality. Is that when crowds are back in the stadium? Because that could be next year. So,
yeah.
And the thing is, we could have more cuts as well, couldn't we? Sorry, Dan, go on.
I think we all know that he was struggling anyway, and the fans weren't particularly on side and everything. And I think this has just come at a time where they can make it work, aren't they? It's a good opportunity to sort of move him on. But not result based as such, And like I said, he's probably kind of happy as well. So I think it was probably a good thing to happen for them to get it to happen, if you know what I mean.
It seems a bit unlike the boards, though, the board of Luton, because they stick with their bosses usually. They give them a chance. And it would have been like them to give him to the end of the season, give him a lot longer than what he needs.
It's got to be
rather than cutting it off now.
It's just a bit strange at this point as well. Obviously, all this sort of stuff going on, financial. I think it's a mixture of both. I don't think Mr. Jones himself probably thought, is this the club for me in the long run? Probably not. I know he likes to say it, but I don't know. I just got a feeling that he maybe felt the backlash from the supporters a little bit. Maybe thought cut the wage budget a little bit to help Luton out. But maybe it'll come out, I don't know. But that's what I'm thinking at the moment.
So do you reckon the position we've been left in, look, I know there's a lot of more important things in football right now in the world with hundreds of people dying every day, but when football does eventually return, is that something that, if the Championship a write-off now? We're going back with no manager, no assistant manager. Idiake is gone, and it's kind of like, will that affect us? Could we have a change in
what now?
Potentially if Mick Harford's interim manager again till we find a replacement? Is that something that could actually help us out?
Look, this could be a positive thing, This might not be all negative. Let's look at it that way. Look at last season when Big Mick come in for the second half, still promoted. We might actually stay up with Big Mick, as opposed look at scenarios, you never know. But the overall
they might void the season anyway. Yeah,
let's hope. Didn't they void the Eredivisie, what they call it?
Yeah, and that was quite close to the top, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe Sweet knows more than we think as well. Maybe he knows the season isn't going to be done. Football isn't going to happen. It's going to be written off. So just sit tight.
Maybe they know more than we do.
I don't think the season will be written off. I don't think that the Championship or the Premier League will allow that to happen. There's too much money at stake. There's too many teams at the top, Leeds United. There's too much money to lose for them not to conclude this season in some way or shape or form. So the detail of why Jones has gone is to save our club some money, but it certainly doesn't coincide with our latest form, does it?
Well, no.
I think from my knowledge is that the EFL want to finish the season, and they're talking about at the moment behind closed doors, and I think they're kind of trying to establish what behind closed doors means and how that affects media and broadcasters. And
they need to finish it as well financially for that reason as well.
Yeah,
has to be. You can't, especially like down the leagues as well. You can't have teams missing out on all this money.
But if it starts off and one player from one team gets the symptoms and he has to isolate for 2 weeks, so does the rest of the team. What do you do then?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, can you really? Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. I had a conversation with someone on Twitter the other day, kind of about this, and he sent me an article about how football is going to be played behind closed doors and how it's going to take like 2 weeks to self-isolate before a game can even be played. But then I think, like, when it gets to that stage where normal people are going back to work as well, wouldn't this just account for anyone in the normal world? Because people are going to come into contact again with each other. Like, I know potentially not like slide tackling each other and stuff and high-fiving, but I just think, like, isn't this is eventually going to happen all around the world? So why should football be any different?
Well, social distancing is going to be here for a while yet. We think we have to realise that. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, you're going to be prone to it. There's going to be extra things you need to do. And you can't have gatherings of 10, 12, 30,000 people and be 100% safe, can you?
No, but that's obvious. But then you think, like, we go to, I know shops are so necessary and football's not, but say in, 40 days time at the end of May and some people are allowed to go back to work and stuff. What's the difference between two people at work being as close as two people at a football game would be?
A lot more people.
Yeah, there's loads more.
Closed doors, wouldn't it?
So yeah, but even behind closed doors, you're still going to take what is it? It's 16, 17 players, then the staff, the coach, driver, and everything else. 25 to 30 people involved in a match day, 2 teams, 60 odd people. You only need one of those to have symptoms or actually be diagnosed, and then you got to tell the team that you played the week before. Oh, one of our players has got it, so within 14 days, one of your players might have it. Then they play the team the week before. Where does it end?
Just a pain in the nuts, isn't it? It's doing my head in now. I'm not gonna lie. I can't go anywhere, mate. I've been living with my girlfriend for the last month or so, 6 weeks.
Oh no, how's that been?
Do you know what? It's been alright. It's been pretty chilled. Quite nice actually, but
you caught the sun.
We are.
Mate.
Yeah, it's a bit burnt, isn't it?
Jesus, have I? Look, that suntan, it's beautiful. Look.
If you're listening on SoundCloud right now, head over to our YouTube channel, Oh and the Town, to see Luke Botaro's extremely burnt face from.
Mate, it's just dark in here, man. It's all right, mate. Look,
it's just dark in here.
I've
it's bright red.
I've done 30 miles, probably if not more, in bike rides in the last couple of days. Up and down them hills, mate. The sun does catch you, Can't get away from it. It's
the
there.
thing with this whole thing, we sort of wondering why now, though. That's my big question. Why now? Why Jones leaving now? What, apart from money, is there anything else involved at all?
Like I said, they know.
I've read a lot of comments today that people are celebrating him going.
Well, I was going to ask, out of the 5 of us, are any of us sad?
No, I've no feeling towards it, really.
I haven't got really any feelings towards it. Like, I'm not happy he's gone, but then I'm not sad he's gone, sort of thing. It's
a shame it didn't work out. That's what I'd say. It's a shame it didn't work out.
I think it's just worried me a little bit about the club's financial situation, personally.
It's brought it more a bit real, isn't it? That is actually...
Yeah. Like you heard things. I heard things like about, obviously, certain things might have to take place and whatever. Now I'm seeing it. It's like, Christ. Obviously not quite the sacking of a manager, mutually terminating a contract, but seeing things about how to save your club and all these, owners of the football clubs low down the football leagues and that, saying that it might have to. Who was it the other day in League One, or last week even? He was saying that he might have to get rid of all his players. And then,
didn't Barnett do that as well?
Yeah,
yes.
I think, they did. Yeah, they had to take him to court, whatever. But it's just crazy, man, isn't it? Football's gone nuts. Everything's gone nuts.
All the non-leagues over, right? All the non-league football.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, all of the non-league football's over. So what are they going to do there? Does that reprieve Stevenage from getting relegated, or do they just promote who's at the top? There's so many questions.
Oh yeah, Stevenage fuckers. Oh mate, I completely forgot about that. Christ, sorry about that. That's rude. But I'll put out a minute. I'm gonna get a can, lads. Hang on. Not trying to, interfere. There we go.
So, with the news that Jones has gone, there's obviously been loads of rumours about who should come in to replace him when, obviously, we have the money to do so. At the moment, I think Stephen Robinson, the former midfielder for Luton, is favourite, but it's literally a couple of hours. It's early days, isn't it?
I thought he was going to say Stephen Carden. I was like, fuck.
Mate, with my heroics on Football Manager.
Oh, mate. Nah.
Do you think it's too early to be talking about manager replacements? Do you reckon we should just get through this?
Yeah, get through it first.
I think that's what the club have said, haven't they, Luke? Did they say they're not even thinking about it at the moment? Not until there's sort of a resolve to whether the season's going to finish or whatever.
Yeah,
they're not even thinking about it.
If they're not thinking about it, then doesn't that ask the question, why did they wait so long to get rid of him, Graeme Jones? If they haven't even thought about a replacement, What made that spur of the moment decision to get rid of them today? That's what I would say. They must have somebody in.
You can't say it was a thing today of they woke up this morning and thought, oh, we need to do it. Like, this has probably been.
I'm not saying that, Luke. What I'm
the
saying,
last resort for a few. This is probably a last resort. Like, Gary Sweet probably didn't want to get rid of Jones. Let's be honest. If he wanted to get rid of Jones, he would have done it when we lost 12 away games in a row after we lost to Birmingham home. He would have done it then because that was awful.
exactly. But he could have asked the management team to take a massive wage deferral if they wanted to keep the job. They wanted to keep him there. They'd have done anything more. They could have done more to keep him there.
They could have just gone unpaid till this all sorts itself out.
And by the same extent, they probably qualify for furlough as well, don't they?
Surely. Must they?
Yeah.
So
isn't furlough up to...
the government could have paid 80% of his wages.
It's up to £2,500, but it's better than nothing, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's on a lot more than that.
Yeah, but if he just...
But it's better than he's getting paid nothing now, so it's better than that.
It's just an odd situation, isn't it, to be in with the club? And it is, I think, financially, like we've all discussed and we've all said, that at the moment it's financially tough for the club. And it's not just Luton. I think maybe other clubs we might see some more of this from other clubs, maybe lower down the league.
Surely, 100%.
We won't be the only ones.
100%.
Well, but
I just
find the whole situation quite strange. And to talk about a replacement when, barely 5 weeks ago, they weren't getting rid of him. 6 weeks ago, they was backing him. And now we're looking at who can come in to replace him. Strange.
I don't think we're even at the moment, especially in this obviously little crisis that's happening. I can't see us looking at new managers for the time being. Surely, just hopefully get this season over and done with, and then we'll start looking. And that has to be the aim. But obviously, survival is the key overall.
Contracts are also the key, aren't they? If you haven't got a manager in place, how do you renegotiate contracts? How do you make sure you keep those players you want to keep? When are the contracts running out? End of June, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of them, though, actually, we're probably all right without. Was it about 7, 8 of them? And probably 5, 6 of them, most of us wouldn't be too concerned if they didn't stay.
I think the main one's Ray, isn't it? The main one is Glenn Ray. Maybe Luke Berry, I think, is out of contract.
Yeah,
Hilton as well.
Hilton as well.
Since coming back, Glenn Ray's been fantastic, isn't he? He's been great.
Brilliant.
And if we go down, that's a player you want in a League One team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I kind of think the board have just accepted the fact whatever's going to happen this season's going to happen. Like, if it's relegation, in a situation like this, they're probably just thinking as long as the club is surviving and the club can stay competitive, at a League One level, if that's the decision they have to make.
You look at how much money we lose, though, if we go down. All that TV money as well. Don't you get times 10 or whatever when you go to the Championship?
I think they always said we sort of got promoted to the Championship a few years too soon, really, and we outdid ourselves. And I don't think they probably even wanted to get there till we're nearer to having the stadium, whatever. I think they'd be quite happy if we're bobbing along in 7 years' time in League One when we go into a stadium and then make the push to
try and improve it. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised though if he does come back once this is all sorted. If it was announced, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
No.
I just think if that was the case, that there could be a potential chance for him to come back. I think that would have been announced in the statement, today.
Yeah.
Not like promising anything, but maybe if we get out of this in 3 months' time and the club's in a financial position that would benefit Joe back.
Oh, it might be another manager idol
thing.
Do you remember that?
That's the thing. If no one knows how long this is going to go on.
Manager idol does sound good, though.
Yeah, imagine that. Joking here, right, lot back. Mike Newell. Was it joking here, Mike Newell, whoever else? But yeah, do you remember that?
I remember
back in the day.
You know what? I protested against that. I was at the club.
That's dreadful.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
Absolutely.
Oh dear.
You just got to hope that the 2020 board have they obviously have the club interest at their hearts, but they have a plan. You have to trust that they have a plan. Otherwise, they wouldn't have just binned him. They wouldn't have just binned him if they didn't have a plan. And is it too much to ask Mick Harford to run the team again and keep us up?
Well, let's take a look back at some of the highlights, I guess, of Jones' Luton Town career. He's seen out 3/4 of the season, I guess you could say. And he wasn't everyone's cup of tea, really, Jones, was he? What do you think? Let's start off with the positives of what you think Jones did well this season. Anyone, just feel free to chip in. What's Jones done this season?
He took the criticism pretty well, didn't he? People might not like that comment, but he took the criticism fairly well, I'd say. Handled it in a decent way. Because a lot of
he didn't let it affect him, did he?
No. And then he obviously turned things around slightly. But look, it's not to sit here and go, oh, this and that, blah, 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 whatever. Pick hairs. But at the end of the day, it's one of the things. And Steve, look at your face. I want to ask you the question. What did you think of Jones after all? Because I see your face pop up on the screen there and it just put me off. Sorry. It's so ugly.
What did I think of Jones?
So ugly.
I wasn't his biggest fan, if I'm honest. But am I happy to see him go? I'm probably not. No, I'm probably not happy.
Is anyone else slightly happy? Because I just want to ask the question. Dave?
I'm not happy he's gone. No, not at all. I'm not unhappy. I'm just sort of bewildered, if I'm honest. That's the word I'm looking for, bewildered. In answer to Luke's question, what highlights can I remember? There you go. I literally can't. We've had some cracking games and we've had some really shocking games.
For Jones, realistically, he knew what he was getting into when he took the job. It was always going to be a struggle for him. I thought he was learning as he was going. And I think I will be first to admit that I've slagged him off a few times. But I think one thing...
A few times? Fucking hell, mate.
A few times, mate.
Yeah, come on.
He worked hard, though. I think Jones worked really hard. And, working at the club for half the season, you hear about how hard he's working to make things right. It's not like he wanted results to go that way.
He did. And I actually think, I said to a few people, I think had this all not had happened and the season kept going, I do think he might have kept us up. Because, Hull were in free fall, Stoke weren't doing that well.
Yep.
We had found a bit of form. And I actually think he was just on the cusp of slightly turning it around, slightly winning people over. We were kind of grinding out. But I think actually we may, or at least we would have had a fighting chance of staying up had it had carried on. So it's come at an awful time for him. But
so if it wasn't related, though, why now?
I'm not. Yeah. Well, like you say, it's got to be financial, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. And that's the disappointment with it all, really.
Yeah. Like you're saying, if it is financial, then why wouldn't he come back in once this is all sorted? Why wouldn't he just, to pick up the reins again once all the financial situation and game's sorted out?
But then it can't be financial.
And I guess it'd be a whole new contract. So different wage, depending on what league we're in, and different...
He might even ask for it back, the money he's lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't know, mate.
I think from that point of view, it's kind of like, I think the board would see it as a fresh start and they'd say, look, let's just, maybe Jones wasn't the correct appointment. Maybe the board had been thinking that all season, like they wanted to give him the chance. And now it's got to that stage where it's like, we can't afford to have him. Let's just have a fresh start.
And use financial situation as a little cover-up. Or maybe put it out to the media a bit like that. Yeah.
But maybe like we said at the start of the podcast, it's best for all parties this happens, and we just write off this season if we stay up.
Because he would not have gone either without the. He would have not mutually terminated his contract as well. He would not agreed to that if he wanted to stay. Let's face it. So he had to want it to go at the same time. I think he knew maybe it wasn't working for him overall.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, he could have kept us up. No one will ever know, depending on what happens as well. But at the same time, I think he wanted a route out of it as well. Overall.
Can I just raise one quick question to everyone?
Go on.
If on the opening day of the season podcast, we would have said we'll be sitting here in 8 months' time during a global pandemic that our managers left due to financial reasons and football had been cancelled, what would you have said?
Don't be stupid.
How much you have to drink?
Yeah.
How much you had to drink, a good one. Yeah.
I wanted to touch on one more question then for everyone. Mainly with Graeme Jones, I guess, and moving forward. It's one of them things where it's mixed on social media. Would you have Nathan Jones back?
Nah,
it has to be asked because it's been all over social media. Batari, you just said no. Why?
Why is that the only thing that comes out of any managerial situation? Is fucking, would you take Nathan Jones back? Fucking the little rat, little rodent. No. He's a good manager, but I don't want him back. No, thank you.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. He's a class manager, but in the circumstances he left, I wouldn't have him back.
Exactly.
I thought he was going to say he's a class A then.
If it had left on different circumstances in a different way and not left us technically before one of our biggest games of the season, just pee off down the road, then people might have welcomed him back.
Mm-hmm.
What if?
Because half of his things that he was passion and pride, and he played for the shirt. But now we know that's all fake. What's the point?
Yeah.
Like, it's pointless having him.
I think at the end of all this, there's going to be a lot of managers to choose from. A lot of managers are going to be out of work, and I think there's going to be a big pot to choose from. So why would you go there? There'd be others. What about Rutter? Do you reckon Rutter would come and do it?
Interesting.
Yeah, why not?
I think he was the brains behind everything at the end of the day, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I can't really give you an answer on that.
Oh, it's going to happen now. You watch. You've called it now. You've actually called it.
Get down the bookies.
I think they're closed at the moment. Might have to wait.
Tara knows that the bookings are closed, apparently, don't you? I bet you've spent so much money, haven't you?
No, spent so much money, you say?
Or saved so much money from not betting.
Yeah, I saved quite a
I
bit.
bet he's
at the
still
same
betting
time,
on like the Belarusian second division or whatnot. That's still going on.
Bet on the darts at the moment, home leagues and all that sort of shite. It's good fun. But
so Nathan Jones coming back. We've all said no, yeah. Apart from me, I said if he was joined and apologise, I would go. Let's do this. Let's forgive and move on.
Yeah, I think I could do the same, Luke. But I also think there'd be other better choices probably.
You're probably
at this
right.
stage.
Yeah,
at this stage.
Right.
I think
I don't think I'll be
burnt too many bridges, doesn't he? He's burnt too many bridges with the directors as well, so not a chance.
He probably needs to go to another club a few years, and then he hasn't left us to go there to come back, sort of thing. So if he has another appointment somewhere, and we see him again down the line, X amount of years down the line, it could be different.
See, the thing I liked about it was his passion, and he loved the club. Well, so he said he loved the club, sort of thing. But now we know that's all nothing. It's pointless, isn't it? Really,
Steve. I think deep down in your face, you want him back. I can see it in your eyes. Look at you.
No, not yet. I'll have Chris Hughton.
I think we can afford Chris Hughton, Steve.
That's what I want.
I'll donate, every single Luton fan now, donate £5 to £10 to us, and we'll try and pay him.
We'll have Chris Hughton. I'll have him.
To us?
Yeah.
When you say us, football club, you don't mean the podcast, right?
Well, Dave, I'm not sure I know what I meant, to be honest. But, if you donate to us, we can surely get it to him. Because the board might go, yeah, to us, and we'll give it to him. You get someone else, like someone shit.
What, to Chris Hughton personally?
Yeah, why not? Little incentive.
Well, realistically, I think we are running out of time. Are we running out of time? I haven't got a timer on my screen. I think we are. Nah. Well, I just thought, Batari, it's been a while since anyone's heard from you. Tell me about how you've been. Just what are your thoughts on life and football right now?
Bloody hell.
Thoughts on football are non-existent because that's what football is right now. And I'll be honest, I haven't really thought about it too much. Unless I see you boys pop up a few things on the group chat, if I occasionally do read it. But to be honest.
A football-related question for you then. Slug has been linked with a move away to
Besiktas, isn't it?
Besiktas. What are your opinions on that? If it's true, what are your opinions?
Cracking move.
I'm starting to like him.
Mm-hmm.
I always deep down liked him, but I don't know. It depends how much you get for him. Give us 2 million, maybe.
I'll take 5 million for him.
I don't think we'll get 5, Steve.
Don't sell him. Like not having it.
If we get
no.
maybe he might choose to go. maybe we might be forced to sell. You don't know. Again, we just don't know where we are financially, do we? So all of those things could have happened, right?
Oh, it's gone so depressing, isn't it? Jesus. I was happy before I did this. Started talking about fucking football again. All I wanted to do was ask how we all been.
I think we're on our time. But it's been great chatting to you. Look, I hope if you've been watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for reaching it this far. If you've listened this far as well, thank you.
Well done. Well done.
The only thing, when you do a podcast over Zoom, it's quite hard because everyone's it intermingles with each other.
Yeah,
so,
it's difficult, I must admit. I'm struggling. My coordination of my brain is pretty off at the moment.
Yeah.
I think that's the drugs, mate.
Steve, that's your nonsense filtering through my fucking brain. Keep it shut, mate. All right.
So we've lost Darren to phone charge being completely out. And
oh, shit, yeah. I thought he's been a bit quiet.
Yeah, so I think let us know your opinions on Jones leaving Luton. It's just mind-blowing. We didn't expect to spend our Friday night doing a podcast, an emergency podcast.
Hang on, what? Friday?
It's a Friday, mate.
Is it?
Friday night.
Okay. I didn't even know.
It's time for sleep, I think.
Yeah. Like on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already to see more of this. If you're listening this far on iTunes or Spotify, wherever you're listening on, thank you. Join us for our virtual one on a video version on YouTube. Rate us 5 stars. Join us whenever who knows when we'll do this again.
Maybe next week.
Maybe.
Why not? Maybe
now you've got my iPad. You can work the internet, mate. Maybe we can get you on next week as well.
Oh, you're just lucky I can't fucking sell this in some dodgy shop around the corner.
You probably can.
Nah, I don't know about that. Shop over, Steve.
Yeah, you need to get producer Jacob working on a proper running order next time too.
We'll give it a go. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and listening, and we shall see you very soon.